Sammy Alias was a name that carried weight far beyond the borders of Abia State. In the hidden corners of Abia Poly, his name was spoken with caution. He was known as a skilled hitman in the Black Axe Confraternity, a man who carried out assignments with calm precision, and the #2 man in his zone in Aba. Before he left Nigeria, many feared him, and many respected him, but nobody ever misunderstood him. Sammy Alias was not the type you guessed about. His actions explained him clearly. He was born and raised in Okwu Olokoro, a community in Umuajata. People there remembered him as the quiet boy who grew into a young man with a sharp mind and a dangerous temper. His journey into Black Axe started at Abia Poly, where he joined for protection. But after proving himself in several critical moments, he climbed the ranks faster than most. His intelligence, speed, and accuracy made him a natural enforcer. Soon he became the #2 of the entire Black Axe body in the region, handling serious decisions and high-risk missions. However, after years of living in tension, threats, and endless violence, Sammy Alias left Nigeria. He traveled abroad not just to escape enemies, but to escape the life itself. Even as a high-ranking member, he wanted space, distance from the noise, distance from the trouble, and distance from the constant demand to be ruthless. Abroad, he lived quietly, watching from afar as Abia Poly faced different internal struggles. But no matter how far he traveled, Okwu Olokoro was still home, and the new Yam Festival was one tradition he respected with his whole heart. Sammy Alias believed that no matter the life you lived, you must honor where you came from. The festival was also the only time he felt connected to his late grandfather, who always said, "A man who forgets his roots loses his direction." For Sammy Alias, this return was not about power or influence. It was about grounding himself again, touching home soil, and honoring the culture that shaped him long before the streets and his Black Axe past changed his path. Nothing else brought him back. Nothing else mattered.
Before Sammy Alias returned from abroad, trouble had already started between his village, Okwu Olokoro, and their neighboring village, Umuajata. What began as a small issue quickly became something bigger. A young man from Okwu claimed that someone from Umuajata stole his phone. Nobody knew the full truth. The phone owner had no proof, and the people accused in Umuajata denied everything. But the argument grew, and before long, anger replaced common sense. The youths from Okwu decided to go to Umuajata to demand answers, but it turned into a full fight. Shouting became pushing, and pushing became a clash. By the end of that chaotic evening, several properties in Umuajata had been damaged, windows broken, stalls scattered, and a few motorcycles spoiled. The elders of both villages were embarrassed and angry, but by then, the damage had already been done. So, when the new Yam Festival approached, the elders in Okwu knew they had to control their youths. Every festival brought visitors, guests, and peaceful celebration. The last thing they wanted was for the fight to continue and ruin the event. The elders held a meeting under the big kola tree and addressed everyone. They warned all Okwu youths clearly. Do not pass through Umuajata Road during the festival. Use the longer route. Avoid trouble, avoid provocation, avoid anything that can bring shame to our village. Most people nodded in agreement. They understood the tension was still fresh, and passing through Umuajata might spark another fight. The longer route was inconvenient, but it was safer. But Okwu youths were known for stubbornness. Some believed that avoiding Umuajata made them look weak. They felt they had done nothing wrong and had no reason to fear. Among those who didn't like the elders' warning was Sammy Alias. He didn't return home to involve himself in village fights, but he also didn't like being told where he could or could not pass. To him, avoiding the road looked like surrender. He kept quiet during the meeting, but his mind was already made up. Later, when the festival drum started and people began moving toward the square, the obedient ones took the longer but peaceful route. But a small group, confident and stubborn, headed toward the forbidden path. Sammy walked with them. He wasn't going there to start trouble, but he also wasn't going to let fear decide his movement. The elders had warned them, but some roads bring their own lessons, and Sammy was already on one.
The small group that followed the Umuajata road believed nothing serious would happen. They believed the worst that could happen was an argument or a shout. None of them expected anything negative. None of them expected betrayal. When news broke that the youths who passed through the Umuajata road were taken down, the whole of Okwu fell into shock. Nobody expected the situation to escalate that far. Nobody imagined the road had been quietly monitored by angry youths from the other side. By the time people realized what had happened, it was already too late. The reports came in waves, rushed whispers, hurried voices, and frightened witnesses. The saddest name among those taken down was Sammy Alias. Sammy, who returned from abroad for nothing but culture and tradition. Sammy, who was known across Abia Poly for his strength and influence. Sammy, the boy of Okwu Olokoro, who many believed feared nothing. His fall shook the village more than anything else. People couldn't believe that someone like him could be caught so easily. But the part that caused the most pain and confusion was the identity of the person who executed him. According to the reports that surfaced later, the person who led the attack was not a random Umuajata youth. He was not someone with a personal grudge. He was not even someone from the village conflict. He was a Black Axe member, one of their own. Someone from the same confraternity that Sammy once served. Someone who should have avoided him, protected him, or at the very least respected him. Instead, he pulled the trigger. That single truth spread faster than any rumor ever could. There was no real brotherhood in cultism. No loyalty, no safety, no guarantee. Sammy Alias, a former hitman and number 2 of Black Axe at Abia Poly, was taken down not by a rival, but by someone who once claimed to be a brother. His downfall became the biggest lesson the youths of Okwu had seen in years. The elders gathered the entire community the following day. No long speeches, no empty words. They simply stood before the people and pointed to the painful truth. You see what happens when you follow the wrong path. Cultism has no real family. They will turn on you without warning. They will use you and destroy you. But your village, your culture, and your roots will never betray you. If Sammy stayed loyal to his community from the beginning, his story would have ended differently. But the life he chose followed him, even when he no longer wanted it. Sammy's fall was not celebrated. It was mourned, not because of his past, but because of how avoidable it could have been. He came home for peace, culture, and the new Yam Festival, yet the shadow of cultism found him again, even when he tried to walk away. His story became a warning to every young man in Okwu and beyond. There is no brotherhood in cultism. There is no future in it. There is only betrayal, destruction, and pain. Sammy Alias learned too late, but his story remained to teach those still alive.
Before midday, people had already gathered in small groups, whispering, arguing, and shaking their heads in disbelief. The New Yam Festival, which was supposed to bring joy and unity, had suddenly turned into a period of mourning and confusion. The fall of Sammy Alias and the others changed everything. The president general of the clan, a man known for discipline and firm decisions, wasted no time in responding. He called an emergency meeting with the elders, titled men, and all community leaders. There was no dancing, no drumming, no celebration, only silence and tension. After hearing the reports and understanding the seriousness of the situation, the President General stood up and spoke clearly. From this moment, the new Yam Festival is suspended until further notice. There was no argument. No one dared question him. The community understood the weight of what had happened. People had gone. Blood had been spilled, and the festival could not continue as if nothing had occurred. Within minutes, messengers were sent across all compounds to announce the suspension. The young and old stopped their preparations. Traders closed their stalls. Drummers put away their instruments. Even visitors who had traveled into the village for the festival quietly packed their bags. The entire atmosphere shifted from excitement to deep sorrow. For the elders, suspending the festival was the only reasonable decision. The festival was a celebration of life, unity, and thanksgiving. Continuing it while families mourned would show disrespect to Sammy and also risk further trouble. Tension between Okwu and Umuajata was already high. Any gathering could easily lead to retaliation, misunderstanding, or more violence. His message spread beyond Okwu. Nearby villages heard what happened and understood the decision. Some even sent condolences, shocked that a clash that started over a stolen phone had ended in lost life and chaos. By evening, Okwu became quiet. No music, no dance, no festival fires, only the sound of mourning, prayer, and heavy hearts. The New Yam Festival, which should have united everyone, had instead exposed the deep cracks created by pride, stubbornness, and violence. And until those cracks were healed, the celebration would remain suspended.
It is so disheartening to see brothers fighting themselves over nothing. A small misunderstanding, a stolen phone, or a piece of pride can ignite a conflict that grows beyond control. The story of Sammy Alias and the events in Okwu Olokoro serve as a powerful lesson. Cultism does not protect anyone. Not one person is truly safe, not even the highest-ranking members. Your own brother, someone who claims loyalty to the same cause, wears the same sign, or belongs to the same confraternity, can take you down in a moment. Trust is fragile, and in cultism, loyalty often only exists in words, not in action. Sammy Alias was once a feared and respected figure, the number 2 man of the Black Axe Confraternity at Abia Poly zone. People thought that his position made him untouchable. People believed that being a Black Axe member meant he could move freely, make decisions, and command respect without consequence. But all of that was an illusion. Even with his experience, even with his reputation, Sammy could not escape the danger that followed him home. The lesson is clear. Joining a confraternity does not make you safe. It does not make you untouchable. Your own members can become your enemies at any moment. Cultism is unpredictable, dangerous, and unforgiving. The tragedy of Sammy's return to Okwu Olokoro was not because of outsiders, rival groups, or enemies from afar. It was because of disobedience, pride, and the false sense of protection that cultism gives. Despite warnings from the elders, some youths, including Sammy, chose to ignore advice. They walked down the forbidden road toward Umuajata. They believed that nothing could harm them. They were wrong. The consequences were fatal. People fall, families mourned, and Sammy Alias, who came home for peace, culture, and tradition, lost his life in the blink of an eye. This story is not just about violence or revenge. It is about awareness. It is about understanding that cultism has no real brotherhood. There is no loyalty that guarantees your life, your future, or your safety. In fact, the higher you rise in such groups, the more dangerous your position becomes. People will envy you, fear you, and, if opportunity presents itself, betray you. Cultism promises power, but the cost is far too high. The cost is your life, your freedom, your future, and your peace of mind. Sammy's fall is permanent. His plans to go abroad again, to live a life away from danger, will never happen. His future is gone. Life ended abruptly, and nothing can bring it back. Families mourned, friends regretted, and the community was left to learn a hard truth. No matter your experience, no matter your strength, no matter your fearlessness, cultism can and will destroy you. There is no gain in joining such groups. There is no safety. There is no real brotherhood. Only betrayal, chaos, and regret. Let us learn from this story. Let us see that the supposed protection of a confraternity is false. Let us recognize that joining such groups exposes young men to unnecessary danger, violence, and destruction. Instead of chasing empty power and loyalty that does not exist, focus on your community, your family, and your traditions. Honor your roots, participate in cultural events, build relationships that last, learn skills, pursue education, and contribute positively to society. These are the things that will protect you, give you respect, and secure your future. The elders of Okwu Olokoro warned the youths. They pleaded for peace. They reminded everyone of the importance of obedience, patience, and unity. But the message was ignored. And that is why tragedy struck. And that is why every young person must understand this. One wrong decision, one moment of pride, one act of disobedience can end everything. It is not just about being strong, smart, or brave. It is about choosing life over danger, wisdom over recklessness, and community over false cower. Sammy Alias will never return. His story is a warning. His life, once full of potential and opportunities, ended abruptly because of choices influenced by false loyalty and pride. The new Yam Festival, meant for joy and unity, turned into mourning and silence. So let us pay attention. Let us learn. Let us educate young people about the dangers of cultism. There is nothing to gain and everything to lose. Respect your community. Honor your traditions. Protect your life. Sammy's story will not be forgotten, but it could have been avoided. Please, let us learn. This content is for educational purposes only. We don't support cultism.